everyone. Today let's see the second video of our 8th chapter, cell structure and functions. So in this video we are going to study about the various parts of the cell. First is cell membrane. Cell membrane is the protective outermost layer of the cell. Here this is a simple diagram of a cell, and this outermost covering of the cell which separates the cell from the outer environment. You can imagine just like the walls of a room, this cell membrane protects the cell from its surrounding. One more thing is, it is porous in nature. The meaning of porous is it has some openings in it throughout the cell membrane through which certain materials or substances can enter the cell as well as can exit the cell. Here you pay attention, not all the substances but certain substances. Only some substances are allowed to enter the cell and only some substances are allowed to exit the cell as well. That is why cell membrane is also called as a selectively permeable membrane. You must remember the nature of cell membrane is it is selectively permeable. That means it only allows selective substances to enter as well as exit the cell. Next is cell wall. Here cell walls are actually only present in plants. You will not find them in animal cells. Cell wall is an additional protective layer. After the cell membrane, the plant cells have one more protective layer outside the cell membrane. Why plants have this cell wall? As you know, the plants cannot move from one place to another. So during the harsh environment, harsh environmental or harsh weather, environmental situations, they cannot protect themselves. So they have this extra protective layer to protect themselves from the harsh wind, harsh sunlight as well as heavy downpour. So this cell wall is an extra protective layer but only found in plants. Next is nucleus. Can you see this round structure in between the cell? Almost at the center of the cell, this round structure is called nucleus. Just like a cell membrane, this nucleus is also surrounded by a membrane. It is called nuclear membrane. And just like the cell membrane, nuclear membrane is also porous in nature. That means nuclear membrane also have pores, openings in it through which certain substances can enter into the nucleus as well as exit the nucleus. Just like our brain controls our whole body, the main control center of the cell is this nucleus. This nucleus controls all the activities and the processes taking place in the cell. This nucleus has one more important characteristic, and that is it encloses the chromosomes and our genetic materials. Gene, DNA, chromosomes, all these are present inside our nucleus only. Have you ever noticed that you have some characteristics similar to your father and some characteristics similar to your mother? Like you may have your hair like your mother, your skin like your father. So certain characteristics from your father and from your mother is imbibed inside you. They are present inside you. Those characteristics are in you also. So how they came into your body, how they came into you? They came into the offspring or the daughters or sons through genes. So the small portion, or we can say gene, is a small unit which have information of the characteristics that is passed from the parents to their child. Then these genes together make chromosomes. Chromosomes or genes will be present inside the nucleus in most of the cases. Now, chromosomes, or we can say the genetic material, if you try to observe them under the microscope, you might see them in two shapes. They have mainly two basic shapes. One is a thread-like structure. They will just be in the form like a thread. So when the genetic material is in a thread-like structure, they are called chromatin. But when the cell undergoes division, when the cell is dividing, during that particular period, you can observe the chromosomes in such X-like shapes. So when the genetic material acquires this shape, they are termed as chromosome. You remember, both chromatin and chromosome are the same thing. They are the genetic material, but based on their structure, how they appear, thread-like appearance is called chromatin, and X-like structure, compact structure, is known as chromosomes. Then in between the nucleus, in the genetic material, you will find a round structure present inside the nucleus, that is nucleolus, and it also has certain function which helps in the replication of the cell. Next is, based on the nuclear membrane, the cells can be divided into two types. One is prokaryotic cell. Here the meaning of pro means very early or ancient. So prokaryotic cells are the most ancient cells, and they have genetic material, but their genetic material is not enclosed by a nuclear membrane. They will have their genetic material directly into the cell. They do not have it enclosed inside a nuclear membrane. Whereas there are different types of cells called eukaryotic cells. Here eu means, we can say, modern, latest. So eukaryotic cells are a little modern than the prokaryotic cells, and they have the genetic material enclosed within the nuclear membrane. For example, eukaryotic cells like muscle cell, nerve cell, then we can say our other cells of our body, most of the cells will have this, skin cells also, most of the cells will have nucleus within the nuclear membrane, but prokaryotic cells can be found in bacteria and blue-green algae. Blue-green algae is also a type of bacteria. So in these you will find prokaryotic cell, but most of the organisms have eukaryotic cell. Next is cytoplasm. Here, this is the cell membrane and this is the nucleus. Between the cell membrane and the nucleus, this whole space is filled with a jelly-like substance, and that jelly-like substance is called as cytoplasm. The jelly-like substance present between the cell membrane and the nucleus is called cytoplasm, and cytoplasm contains all the cell organelles. Cell organelles are the small structures or components present inside the cell. For example, nucleus is present inside the cell membrane and on the cytoplasm. So nucleus is also a cell organelle. Now, cytoplasm along with the nucleus, both of them together can be termed as protoplasm. That is why cell membrane have another name called plasma membrane. By this protoplasm, as the cell membrane is enclosing both the cytoplasm and the nucleus, that is protoplasm, cell membrane is also termed as plasma membrane. Now let's have a look at some more cell organelles. First is endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum can be written as ER in short. Endoplasmic reticulum can be of two types. One is rough endoplasmic reticulum, another one is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. But that you will study in your higher classes. For now, you remember that endoplasmic reticulum is a cell organelle. It has a structure somewhat like this. So here I have drawn a rough endoplasmic reticulum. Why it is called rough endoplasmic reticulum? Can you see these dots present on this endoplasmic reticulum? So whenever you will observe this endoplasmic reticulum under a microscope, these dots makes it look like a very rough surface. That is why they are called rough endoplasmic reticulum. So this is an example of its structure. Then these dot-like structures are nothing but another cell organelle called ribosome. So ribosome can be attached on the endoplasmic reticulum, or it may be present freely in the cytoplasm itself. Both the endoplasmic reticulum and ribosome have functions related to protein synthesis. Endoplasmic reticulum have some more functions also, but both of them are responsible for the synthesis of proteins present in our body and required by our body. Endoplasmic reticulum, can you see here? I have attached one endoplasmic reticulum with the nuclear membrane. Endoplasmic reticulum can be present freely in the cell, or it may be attached to the nuclear membrane itself. Next is, okay, here usually the structure of ribosome is like this. It will be made up of basically two units. One will be a small unit, whereas other will be a bigger unit. Next is Golgi bodies, or also known as Golgi apparatus. Golgi bodies are just like endoplasmic reticulum, but you pay attention, endoplasmic reticulum here, these are attached to each other, while in Golgi apparatus they will be not attached to each other. They appears like plates stacked one on the top of the other. So this is Golgi apparatus or Golgi bodies, and Golgi bodies have one of the main function, that is modification of the protein. So endoplasmic reticulum and ribosome will prepare the protein and send it to Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus will modify it and give it the finishing touch and then release it into our body. Next is vacuole. Vacuole are nothing but, you can imagine them as a storage bag. They are round and colorless structures, and usually these are present in bigger size in the plant, and in animals they will be in smaller sizes. So the main function of vacuole is they can store food products, nutrients, as well as they help in the transportation of excrete, that means waste from the body. So it can store water, food, as well as waste material. Next, let's have a look at mitochondria. So mitochondria is a double membraned structure. That means it has two membranes. One is this outermost membrane and another one is this inner membrane. As you can see in the structure, this is one and this is the other. So inner and outer membrane, and this organelle is also called as the powerhouse of the cell. That means the main work or the main process of production of energy actually takes place in the mitochondria. Whatever food we have eaten actually ultimately after digestion goes into the cell, then goes into the mitochondria of the cell, and there itself the energy is produced. That is why mitochondria is also known as powerhouse of the cell. Next is lysosome. Lysosome is actually just like a suicidal bag. That means, what comes to your mind when I say suicidal bag? This bag contains digestive enzymes inside it. What are those? Digestive enzymes. These are some chemical-like substance which can digest things. Now, whenever the cell feels like, or whenever the organ or the tissues feel like any of the cell is problematic or may become problematic for the whole being, then what they do, the lysosome inside the cell, it bursts up. So when it bursts up, all the digestive material spreads throughout the cell and it digests its own cell. So the lysosome bursts open and digests its own cell. That is why it is also termed as suicidal bags. Lysosomes have function where it can kill certain pathogens which may enter into your body, but if the cell feels like it may be problematic for the whole body, then it activates its suicidal bag, that is lysosome, which bursts open and kill its own cell. Next is plastids. Plastids also are found only in plants. Plastids are some bag-like structures which contains pigments. Can you see that the leaves have a particular green color? Yes. So what is the reason for that green color? That is due to the presence of chlorophyll. And where is this chlorophyll present? Chlorophylls are actually present inside the plastid itself. So plastids can be of various types. But those plastids which contain chlorophyll, a green colored pigment, those plastids which contain chlorophyll are called chloroplast. And you know that chlorophyll is required for the process of photosynthesis. So chloroplast is actually those plastids where preparation of the food of the plant takes place. That is why chloroplast is also termed as kitchen of the plant, where the preparation of the food takes place. Now you must remember that plastids and mitochondria are two organelles of a cell which have their own genetic material. We have discussed that nucleus encloses the genetic material of the cell, but apart from that genetic material, mitochondria and the plastids also have their own genetic material. So this is very important. You have to remember which two cell organelles have their own genetic material. They are mitochondria and plastids. So plastids, those plastids which contain green colored pigment called chlorophyll are called chloroplast. So what are chloroplast? Chloroplasts are also plastids, but they contain green colored pigment in them. Now let's have a quick comparison between the plant cell and the animal cell. We have discussed that cell wall is only present in the plant cell but absent in animal cell. Vacuoles are comparatively bigger in size in the plant cell. They almost cover up the whole cell, while vacuole in the animal cell are smaller in size. Plastids are present in the plant cell, but they are absent in the animal cell. Size. The size of the plant cells are generally bigger, while the size of the animal cell are generally smaller. Also, most of the plant cells have somewhat similar shape, but animal cells may have different types of shapes in them. Next is centriole. Centriole is also a part of the cell which you will study in your further classes, but for now you remember centrioles are absent in plant cell but present in animal cell. While when we will see the nucleus of the plant cell are generally towards the side of the cell, while in the animal cell they are somewhat at the center of the cell. So these are some of the differences between plant cell and animal cell. There are some more differences you can find out if you will search it. So if you want, you can search some more and add in the list. I hope that you have understood this chapter thoroughly. For better understanding, you must go through your textbook also. Thank you.